Have you ever felt that something changed in your dog before there was any clear sign? Before the appetite dropped, before the body slowed down, before the vet confirmed anything? There is often a strange shift in the air. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is just the way your dog looks at you a little longer, rests in a different corner, or follows your movement with a kind of quiet attention that feels almost human. In their final days, dogs may begin to behave differently because their body is processing discomfort, weakness, confusion, or a deep need for safety. They do not understand death the way humans do, but they do understand changes inside their own body. A dog can feel when something is harder than it used to be. Standing up, eating, breathing, hearing footsteps, finding a comfortable position. And because dogs are highly sensitive to routine, pain, smell, tone of voice, and emotional atmosphere, even small internal changes can alter how they relate to the people around them. This is why those final days can feel emotionally intense, even before anything obvious happens. Your dog may not be saying goodbye in the way a movie would show it, but they may be communicating something just as powerful. Stay close, notice me, help me feel safe. And as this video continues, you will understand how those quiet signals often carry more meaning than the loud ones. One of the hardest parts is that many early signs are subtle. A dog may stop greeting you with the same energy but still wag their tail. They may eat, but more slowly. They may sleep more, but still lift their head when you enter the room. These small changes can be confusing because love makes us search for hope in every normal behavior. We think, they still recognize me, so maybe everything is okay. But dogs often hide vulnerability by instinct. In nature, showing weakness can make an animal feel exposed. Even domestic dogs, surrounded by love, may still carry that old survival pattern. They may avoid showing pain directly, not because they are trying to deceive you, but because their nervous system is built to keep going as long as possible. That is why a dog in decline may look fine in short moments, then seem completely exhausted minutes later. Pay attention to patterns, not isolated moments. One good meal does not always mean recovery. One wagging tail does not erase hours of discomfort. This does not mean you should panic over every change, but it does mean your attention matters. Sometimes the message is not in one dramatic sign. It is in the accumulation of tiny differences your heart notices before your mind can explain them. Some dogs become distant in their final days. They may go to another room, hide under a table, choose a quiet corner, or seem less interested in being touched. For a loving owner, this can feel painful, almost like rejection. You may wonder, why are they moving away from me now after all these years? But in many cases, this distance is not emotional withdrawal. It is a search for relief. When a dog feels weak, overstimulated, nauseous, or in pain, too much noise, touch, movement, or attention can become overwhelming. The same affection they once loved may suddenly feel like too much for their tired body. Pulling away can be their way of regulating discomfort. It can mean, I love you, but I need quiet. It can mean, I am trying to rest. It can mean, please do not make me work harder than I can. This is where love has to become gentle enough to listen. The instinct is to follow them, hold them, talk to them, and keep proving they are not alone. But sometimes presence means sitting nearby without demanding interaction. Letting them choose closeness can be one of the kindest things you do. A dog who pulls away may not be leaving you emotionally. They may simply be asking for peace in the only language they have. If you are watching this because you love a dog or because you have already lived through this kind of goodbye, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Here we talk about the emotional side of animals, the silent bonds they create with us, and the things they feel but cannot explain in words. And sometimes, understanding them a little better is the only way we know how to love them more gently. Other dogs do the opposite. They cling. They follow you from room to room, rest their head on your foot, stare when you leave, or become anxious if you are out of sight. This can happen when their world starts to feel less predictable. Their senses may be weaker, their body may feel strange, and their usual confidence may fade. In that uncertainty, you become their safest place. Attachment is not only emotional, it is biological. Dogs are social animals, and many form a deep bond with their caregivers as a source of security. Your voice, smell, touch, and routine can calm their nervous system. In final days, when the body is losing stability, that bond can become even more important. Your presence may help them feel oriented, protected, and less alone. But this attachment can also create a quiet conflict inside you. You want to be there every second, yet watching them need you so much can break your heart. Remember this, your dog is not trying to burden you. They are trusting you. And sometimes the message behind that clinginess is simple and devastatingly tender. When everything feels uncertain, you are still home. There is a kind of calm that can appear near the end, and it often confuses people. A dog who was restless may suddenly seem peaceful. A dog who struggled may sleep deeply. A dog who seemed anxious may look at you with a softness that feels almost like acceptance. For owners, this can be comforting, but it can also create doubt. Are they getting better, or are they letting go? Sometimes when the body is very tired, there is less energy for resistance. The nervous system may slow down. The dog may stop reacting to things that once bothered them. This calm is not always a sign that everything is fine. It can be a sign that their body is conserving what little strength remains. That is why it is important to combine emotional observation with practical care, breathing, pain signs, hydration, mobility, appetite, and guidance from a veterinarian. Still, there is something deeply moving in that calm. It reminds us that dogs do not fill their final moments with regret, resentment, or unfinished arguments. They live close to the present, and maybe that is one of the messages they give us without words. Do not turn this moment into panic. Just be here with me. Before we continue, write in the comments, what is one small behavior your dog does that makes you feel truly connected to them? Sometimes the smallest habit carries the deepest bond. In a dog's final days, eye contact can feel different. Not because your dog suddenly becomes mysterious, but because everything around that look becomes quieter. The usual noise of daily life fades. The running, the barking, the begging for food, the excitement at the door. And then there is just that gaze. Slow, heavy, familiar. The kind of look that makes you stop what you are doing because it feels like something is being said without sound. Dogs use eye contact in many ways. Sometimes it is a request. Help me. Sometimes it is reassurance. I know you are here. Sometimes it is simply connection. When a dog is tired, they may not have the strength to move toward you, follow you, or respond like before. Looking may become one of the few ways they still participate in the bond. Their eyes can track your face, your hands, your voice, almost as if they are holding on to the most recognizable parts of their world. But it is important not to force meaning into every look. A dog may stare because of discomfort, confusion, weakness, or because they need something practical. Water, help changing position, relief from pain, a calmer space. The emotional message and the physical need can exist together. That is what makes these moments so delicate. Your dog may be saying, I love you, but they may also be saying, please notice what my body can no longer do. When a dog begins eating less, sleeping more, or moving differently, it can feel like pieces of their personality are disappearing. The dog who once ran to the bowl now turns away. The dog who used to jump onto the couch now stands and stares, as if calculating whether the effort is worth it. The dog who followed every sound now stays still, not because they stopped caring, but because their body has become a heavier place to live inside. Appetite is not just about hunger. It can be affected by pain, nausea, organ decline, medication, dental discomfort, stress, weakness, or a reduced ability to smell food. Sleep can change because the body is trying to recover, conserve energy, or escape discomfort. Movement can slow because joints hurt, muscles weaken, balance changes, or breathing becomes harder. These signs are not character flaws, they are messages from the body, and this is where many owners suffer. They compare the dog in front of them to the dog they remember. They look for the puppy, the runner, the troublemaker, the shadow that followed them everywhere. But in these final days, love has to meet the dog as they are now, not as they used to be. The question becomes less, why are they not acting normal, and more, what is their body asking from me today? Dogs are incredibly sensitive to human emotion. They notice tone, posture, facial tension, breathing, routine changes, and the way a room feels when everyone is trying not to cry. Your dog may not understand every word you say, but they often understand the emotional temperature around them. In final days, that sensitivity can become even more important because they may be relying on you for orientation and safety. This does not mean you have to pretend to be happy. Dogs do not need a performance. They do not need you to hide every tear or speak in a perfect, calm voice all day. But they can feel when fear takes over the entire environment. If every touch feels desperate, every glance feels like panic, and every moment becomes a test of whether they are still okay, the dog may become more unsettled. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because your bond is real enough for your emotions to reach them. So the message here is not do not feel. You are allowed to break. You are allowed to grieve before the goodbye even happens. But when you are near your dog, try to bring your body back to gentleness. Lower your voice. Slow your hands. Breathe before you touch them. Let your presence say, "You are safe with me." In many cases, that calm presence is one of the last gifts your dog can truly understand. Sometimes the final message is not a grand moment. It is not a dramatic goodbye at sunset. It is a paw placed on your hand, a slow tail movement when they hear your voice, a head resting against your leg, a tired attempt to follow you even if they only make it a few steps. These gestures may look small from the outside, but when you know that dogs' history, they can feel enormous. A dog's final gestures often come from habit, attachment, comfort, and recognition. They may still respond to the rituals that shaped their life with you. Your footsteps in the hallway, the sound of their name, the blanket they loved, the spot near the window, the hand that always knew where to scratch. Even as their body changes, familiar patterns can remain emotionally meaningful. These small actions can be their way of staying connected to the life they knew. And maybe this is the part that hurts and heals at the same time. Your dog does not measure love by how perfectly you handle the ending. They do not replay your mistakes. They do not keep a list of the days you were impatient, distracted, busy, or tired. Their world is simpler than ours. If you were their safe place, their food, their warmth, their voice, their person, then the message they leave is not complicated. You were my home. The hardest thing about a dog's final days is that love becomes mixed with fear. You watch every breath. You analyze every movement. You wonder whether you're doing enough, whether you are missing something, whether you will know when it is time. That fear comes from love. But if it takes over completely, it can steal the tenderness from the moments you still have. Being present means noticing suffering without becoming consumed by panic. It means speaking with a veterinarian, asking honest questions about pain and quality of life, and paying attention to whether your dog can rest, breathe comfortably, eat or drink enough, move without distress, and still experience moments of peace. Presence is not denial. It is not forcing hope where the body is clearly struggling. It is choosing to see your dog fully, with courage and compassion. And in the end, the message your dog may be trying to give you is not a sentence. It is a feeling. Do not remember me only by how I left. Remember how I lived with you. Remember the muddy paws, the ridiculous habits, the eyes waiting at the door, the way they made ordinary days feel less empty. Your dog's final days may be painful, but they are not only about loss. They are also about the last expression of a bond that changed both of you. If this video touched something in you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who has loved a dog deeply. Sometimes people do not need advice first. They just need to feel understood.